Sara, Gledhill. Since I started working with Out of the Cold, probably about 3 to 4 years ago now, I've always been raised that it's important to give back to your community and to be a part of your community. And I think that in principle, I thought it was a good idea, but I didn't really know what it was all about until I started doing Out of the Cold. What it is to be part of a community has really been taught to me through the eyes of homeless people. They teach me something every single time I go, whether it's empathy, whether it's community, whether it's appreciation. They teach me something. So in a way, I feel like I'm blessed to be in their presence, because ultimately they want to be heard. They want their feelings validated. And as one guest said to me one night, which really resonated, talking to you, dear, is more important than food, because no one talks to homeless people. There's such a need in our city for food, just basic food and water, such a need. Like, there needs to be a conversation between the homeless and our government. There needs to be a conversation, because I really believe strongly, after going to the encampments for months, that we can coexist. And I don't know why this conversation hasn't happened yet. They are not harmful. Mothers who are scared to go home. I serve females who you can tell have been abused, and some have opened up to me, but they have been abused and they have nowhere to go. Remember, during COVID, our shelters were closed. They had nowhere to go. And they're scared, they're frightened. I serve teenagers who are emaciated and not maybe a little bit older than my own. I serve men and women who have had to choose between housing and food. I've also served people who, whether it's they lost their job or they had a bad breakup and they have nowhere to go. Whether it's they can't afford housing or there's just nowhere to go because we have very little housing available in the city of Toronto. Yes, and there is such a need. Some nights I'm just going from St. Luke's, and as I'm putting the oven in the car, people are coming by saying, "Do you have meals? Do you have meals? Please, I'm so hungry. Please, do you have a meal?" You can see the pain in their face, and they look like that they haven't had a meal in months. And sometimes we'll be just packing the bags. We take a meal out of the oven and then we put it in a bag with like some snacks and maybe a bottle of water. And as we're doing this, people will walk by and say, "Oh, do you have food?" And we haven't even left the car and we're giving out meals. That's how much of a demand there is. But I want to say that not one person I have ever encountered has not said thank you. And one time I was loading the bags up. A guy from across the street said, "Hey, you two, God bless you. That was such an amazing meal. Thank you." I went one time to an encampment that was really busy before they started clearing them out. This one gentleman that I went to give a meal to, he said to me, "Sorry about the mess around my tent. I've just had some visitors lately." And then he said, I have some women who frequently come when they feel like they just can't handle the abuse anymore at home. And I say to them, "You're free to come here. No questions asked. The door is always open." So I said to him, on behalf of all women, thank you. Thank you for giving those women a place to feel safe and give them a good night's rest. And he feeds them. He asked me for a couple extra meals so he could take care of these women that he knew would probably be at his door around midnight. That's community. I saw that a lot. If you would say, do you have a friend or do you want an extra meal? They would say, yes, actually, if you wouldn't mind, and I will make sure that they get them. And it's a little community within a community. And they really have each other's back. And I've noticed that. You witness it while you're there. They're all spread out. They're scared. We don't know where they are. We don't know if they've died. We don't know if they're under a bridge. We don't know if they've starved to death or they've overdosed to death. The community has been dispersed. And it saddens me that we are no longer able to take care of them. Everybody needs to feel loved, to be understood, to be heard, to feel as a part of community. And although they were intense, they still felt like they had something. And that's all been taken away from them. And I don't know if forcing people into a shelter that they didn't really have a part of the decision is the way to do it. We don't know if they were forced when they were younger into a situation, and that still doesn't sit well with them. So when they're forced to do something again that they're not being part of the decision or that they don't want to do, it doesn't sit well with them. They say that it just reminds them of their history, being made to do something that they don't want to do. So yes, it's actually in a way a form of prejudice and discrimination. I think how people could contribute would be, I mean, financially is the big one, but in other ways too. When you see a homeless person, which not, you see them this time of year outside of Shoppers Drug Mart or in various areas, say hi. Just, how are you? Don't ignore them. That one little thing will make a huge difference because they've said, no one talks to us. Yes, some have mental health issues, and you're going to observe the situation and the person first to make sure that you're safe. Make them feel like people, honestly, and realistically, we're all God's children. These are all God's children that maybe haven't been dealt the best hand, or they haven't had the best opportunities, or they've been in an awful situation that they just can't get out of. Homelessness is not a choice. I don't think they chose to be drug addicts. I don't think they chose to have mental health issues. I don't think they chose to be out of a job. I just feel like they've just been dealt a bad hand at times, or circumstances. We don't know their story, and that's what I think we have to think about. No judgment. We don't know their story. They are someone's children. Winter is coming, and it really concerns me how we're going to help these people.